The scariest trucking roads do not need speed to terrify a driver. Sometimes all they need is no guardrail. When a semi runs out of road, it does not get a second chance. On these roads, the edge is not beside you. It is waiting for you. A normal road gives a trucker space. Space to correct, space to breathe, space to make a small mistake, and still walk away from it without a scratch. These roads take that space away, 1 inch at a time. No shoulder, no barrier, no room to panic. Just rock on one side, air on the other, and a driver who has to thread a 40-ton truck through a gap that never feels wide enough. Some of these roads climb higher than storm clouds. Some turn to mud the second it rains. Some were carved into cliffs by hand, decades ago, long before anyone imagined a vehicle this size trying to fit through them. On some of these roads, the driver clears one blind turn, only to find a worse one waiting directly above it. All of them share one thing. If a driver gets it wrong here, there is nothing standing between the truck and the drop. No rail, no barrier, no second attempt. These are the 10 trucking roads, with no guardrails and no mercy, ranked from dangerous to absolutely unforgiving. Number 10. Trollstigen, Norway. A truck enters the switchbacks low on the mountain. The road looks manageable at first. Then the fog comes down. It rolls off the peaks and settles into the turns without warning. And within minutes, the driver can barely see past the hood. The road stacks one hairpin after another up the mountainside, each turn tighter than the last. Every time the driver clears one bend, the next one is already waiting, angled sharper, narrower, with less room to swing the trailer through. Rain makes the pavement slick within seconds. On a road already fighting for width, that slickness matters. A truck's outside tires ride close enough to the edge that a driver can watch loose gravel slide off the shoulder and disappear down the slope beside them. Tourist traffic crawls in both directions, squeezing an already tight lane even further. Every oncoming car forces a decision: hold the line, or ease toward an edge that offers nothing soft to land on. It is scenic. It is famous. People travel from around the world just to look at it. But beauty does not make a road safe. A road can look incredible in every photograph, and still give a driver almost no room for mistakes. Turn after turn, all the way to the top. Trollstigen is the warning shot. But number 9 proves a road does not need a cliff to feel like there is no escape. Number 9. The Atlantic Road, Norway. There is no mountain here, no towering cliff, just open ocean, low bridges, and a road that seems to disappear into the horizon in every direction. A truck crosses one of the exposed bridge sections, and the wind hits the trailer from the side, hard enough to feel through the wheel. Below, waves break against the rock, close enough to spray up onto the guardrail, in the sections where a guardrail even exists. In a storm, this road turns into something else entirely. Wind gusts strong enough to push a loaded trailer offline. Waves that reach up onto the pavement without warning. Rain that turns the surface slick in seconds, with nothing around the road to slow the weather down before it hits. There is no tree line here, no hillside to block a crosswind, no shelter of any kind. When conditions turn, they turn everywhere at once, across every bridge and every open stretch in a single pass. A driver crossing in bad weather has to fight the wind and the water at the same time, on a surface with almost no protection from either one. The danger here is not a mountain drop, it is exposure, total, constant, and impossible to plan around. The Atlantic Road is fear from the ocean, but number 8 brings the fear back to the cliff edge. Number 8. Skipper's Canyon Road, New Zealand. This road was carved into the side of a canyon over a century ago, and it barely feels wide enough for a car, let alone a heavy vehicle hauling a full load. A truck crawls along the ledge with rock wall pressed against one mirror and a straight drop into the canyon on the other. The surface is loose, rough, and unpredictable. Dry dust one moment, crumbling gravel the next. There is no forgiving shoulder here, no wide lane to lean on if the angle feels wrong. If the outside tires drift even slightly toward that edge, there is no easy correction, no guardrail to catch a mistake. Just gravel, air, and a long way down into the canyon below. Blind corners come without warning, the rock wall cutting off any view of what is coming from the other direction. A driver has to commit to each bend blind, trusting a road that gives almost nothing back in return. The remoteness makes it worse. Out here, help is far away, and the road offers no second chances while a driver waits for it. Skipper's Canyon feels like a road that was never meant for big vehicles, but number 7 puts that same fear inside a stone canyon. Number 7. Taroko Gorge Road, Taiwan. The road does not just squeeze the truck sideways here, it hides what is coming next, over and over, mile after mile. A truck moves between sheer rock walls and sudden open edges, the gorge dropping away far below on one side, while stone presses in close on the other. Tunnels swallow the road without warning, headlights the only thing cutting through the dark before the next curve appears. Then it opens again. Cliff wall, river gorge, blind curve, repeat. Just as a driver's eyes adjust to daylight, the road narrows again and drops them back into shadow. Rockfall is a constant risk in sections like this. Loose stone sits scattered along stretches of road where the mountain has shed material before, and it can do it again with almost no notice. The mountain does not stay still, and neither does the danger riding alongside it. Fog can settle into the gorge in minutes, thickening around the tunnels and blind curves until a driver is relying on instinct as much as sight. A driver has to trust a road that never lets them see more than a few seconds ahead. Turn after turn, tunnel after tunnel. Taroko Gorge traps the road between rock and empty space, but number 6 takes that fear straight into the side of a mountain. Number 6. Guoliang Tunnel Road, China. This looks like a road that should not exist. It was hand-carved into a cliff face decades ago, tool marks still visible in the stone, and a heavy vehicle entering it disappears into solid rock. Walls rough and uneven, barely wider than the vehicle itself in some stretches. Along the tunnel, open windows cut into the stone let light and open air spill in from the cliffside. Through each one, the drop is visible for a second before the tunnel swallows the view again. There is almost no room for error inside. The rock is close enough to touch on one side. The windows open straight onto the mountain drop on the other. Visibility inside is limited to whatever daylight makes it through the openings, and there is nowhere to pull over if something goes wrong mid-tunnel. The tunnel twists as it follows the cliff, meaning a driver rarely sees more than a short stretch ahead at any point. Every window, every bend, every shift in the rock face changes what the vehicle has to navigate around next. It is strange, it is intimidating, and it was carved with almost no allowance for a vehicle this size to move through it. Guoliang looks unreal, but number 5 is where altitude, landslides, and mountain distance turn the whole highway into a threat. Number 5. The Sichuan-Tibet Highway, China and Tibet. This is not one dangerous stretch. It is thousands of kilometers of them, strung together across some of the highest and most remote terrain a truck can drive anywhere in the world. A truck climbs into thin mountain air, while fog drops into the valley below, swallowing the road behind it within minutes. Around the next bend, rock debris sits across the lane, leftovers from a landslide that came down without warning, days or maybe just hours earlier. The road is not just narrow here. The mountain around it is unstable, remote, and unpredictable, shifting weather from clear skies to blinding snow in the space of a single climb. Altitude adds another layer of pressure. The air thins, the engine works harder, and the margin for error on a narrow mountain shoulder gets tighter the higher the road climbs. In some sections, the shoulder has crumbled entirely, leaving nothing but a painted line between the lane and the drop. Help can be hours away out here. A breakdown, a slide, a sudden storm. Any one of them can leave a driver stranded on a ledge, with no easy way down, and no way to call in fast support. The Sichuan-Tibet Highway is where the mountain feels alive, but number 4 is one of the highest and most intimidating roads truckers can face. And if roads like this are the kind of trucking reality you came here for, hit like before the edge gets even closer. Subscribe to Trucker Reality and turn on the bell, because from here, these roads stop looking dangerous and start looking like they were never meant for trucks at all. Number 4. The Karakoram Highway, Pakistan and China. Some of the highest mountains on Earth rise on either side of this road, and the truck moving through them looks almost too small to matter against the scale surrounding it. It climbs through terrain where rock towers overhead and empty space drops away below, the road pinched into a narrow line with no wide shoulder to save a mistake. Sections of the route sit in known rockfall zones, where debris can appear on the road with little or no warning, sometimes just around the next blind curve. The altitude adds its own pressure, thinner air, colder temperatures, and long stretches where a driver is completely exposed to whatever the mountain decides to do next. Narrow bridges cross fast-moving rivers far below, some barely wider than the trailer rolling over them, with nothing but old rail or open air on either side. In bad conditions, sections of the highway can become nearly impassable, mud from meltwater, sudden fog rolling down from the peaks, or fresh rockfall closing a lane without warning. A driver has to read the mountain constantly, because the mountain does not give any advance notice before it changes the road beneath the wheels. The scale here is what makes it terrifying. The road looks tiny against the mountains, and the truck looks smaller than the danger around it, mile after mile after mile. Karakoram is fear through scale, but number 3 is fear through mud, snow, and one of the tightest mountain passes in the world. Number 3. Zoji La Pass, India. This pass can feel barely wide enough for one truck before the weather even gets involved, and the weather is almost always involved. A truck crawls through mud on a narrow ledge, tires close to an edge that has no guardrail in long sections of the route. High altitude, shifting temperatures, and unpredictable conditions mean the surface can change from dry dirt to thick mud to icy slush within the same day, sometimes within the same hour. Then there is the traffic. Trucks and buses share this same tight space, and every passing vehicle becomes a test of nerve, inch by inch, mirror to mirror, with nowhere to go but forward or back. A queue can form fast when one vehicle struggles for grip, leaving a whole line of trucks stopped on a slope with no shoulder to wait on safely. Add snow, and the ledge narrows even further under drifts that hide exactly where the true edge sits. Add fog, and a driver loses the visual reference points that usually keep the wheels honest. Add a road already stretched to its limit, and every inch out here starts to matter in a way it never would on flat ground. Zoji La feels like a road where every inch matters, but number 2 is the name almost everyone knows when they think of cliff roads. Number 2. North Yungas Road, Bolivia, known around the world as Death Road. The name alone tells you what kind of reputation this road carries, and the road itself does nothing to talk drivers out of that reputation. A truck creeps along a narrow dirt ledge while fog hides the drop just beyond the edge. The road is wet more often than not, the cliff wall presses close on one side, and the outside tires are left with almost no margin at all, sometimes just inches between the tread and open air. There is barely enough width for a single truck in some stretches, and when another vehicle needs to pass, both drivers are left negotiating inches on a surface that offers no guarantees and no markings to guide them. In sections, small waterfalls cross directly over the road itself, turning dirt into slick mud, right where a driver needs traction the most. Fog can roll in fast enough to erase the drop from view entirely, leaving a driver crawling forward on memory and instinct rather than sight. It is one of the most feared cliff roads in the world, and even after decades of stories, it remains one of the most visually terrifying roads a truck can be near. Narrow, wet, exposed, and completely unguarded from end to end. Death Road is famous for fear, but number 1 may be even more brutal, because it looks like a road designed with no forgiveness at all. Number 1. Bayburt D915, the Derebaşı Turns, Turkey. This is the final boss of the countdown, and it earns that title with almost no argument. A truck climbs a sequence of tight switchbacks carved directly into the mountain, each turn stacked above the last, visible almost like a staircase built for something far smaller than an 18-wheeler ever intended to fit. There is no guardrail. The surface is rough and narrow, shifting between gravel, dirt, and broken pavement, depending on the stretch. Every hairpin brings a steep drop waiting just outside the curve, and the truck has to commit to the turn with almost no room for recovery if the angle is wrong. A driver clears one switchback only to see the next one rising directly above, tighter than the last, stacked so closely that the whole mountain looks like a single unbroken staircase of turns, with no flat ground in between. Add rain, and the surface turns greasy under the tires. Add fog, and the next switchback disappears until the truck is almost on top of it. Add loose gravel, and the outside wheels lose the little grip they had left. Any one of these conditions on its own would be enough to demand total focus. Here, they can show up together, all on the same climb. This road combines everything the rest of this list warned about. No guardrails, tight turns, steep drops, a narrow surface, total mountain exposure, and almost no room for recovery if something goes wrong. This is not just a road with no guardrail. This is a road that looks like it was built to test how much fear a driver can carry before the next turn. Some roads are dangerous because they are high, some because they are narrow, some because the weather turns them against the truck the moment conditions change. But the worst roads do all of it at once. No shoulder, no barrier, no space, and no mercy, mile after mile, turn after turn. That is what puts a road on this list. Not just one bad stretch, but a road that never lets a driver relax, not even for a second. Not even when the worst turn feels like it should be behind them. Which road would you refuse to drive? Which one should have been number one? What dangerous trucking route should Trucker Reality cover next? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit like, subscribe to Trucker Reality, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next extreme trucking countdown.